everyone. So as Peplau said, my name is Vinicius Deschamps, and I'm speaking about Sitecore with Azure, better together. I hope that it's the original title, but let's moving forward. All right, so here is our agenda. So first, who am I? Number two, introduction to the cloud. Number three, Azure, an overview for Azure. Ways to provision Sitecore, hands-on. A little bit of my background technology on Azure and cloud. So hopefully you guys enjoy this topic. Also, I have a topic specifically for system administrators and ending this presentation with the questions. All right, so who am I? Vinicius Deschamps is my name. I am a system administrator at Valtech, formerly Nonlinear Creations. I have plus 10 years playing system administrator roles, Microsoft certified solutions expert, and currently I have been awarded with the Sitecore MVP 2017. All right, so an introduction to the cloud. Everyone likes to speak about the cloud. Everyone knows the cloud, and here's an introduction to it. So as probably everyone already heard about that, we have infrastructure as a service, known as IaaS. What is IaaS? So infrastructure as a service is running your servers, storage, networking, and have all these in a cloud provider. For example, Azure. We have Amazon as well, but the focus of this presentation will be Azure. So instead of having servers hosting your Hyper-V servers, you have a subscription in Azure running your servers, your disk space, your firewall, your security, and etc. All right, so we also have platform as a service. This englobes everything from infrastructure as a service and abstract the virtual machines in operational systems. So you have all your service running in the cloud without need to care to worry about how are things working in terms of operational system, servers, networking, and your data center, for example. And to end the introduction to the cloud, we have software as a service, and it globes everything else. So in other terms, you don't have to worry about anything. Everything that will be on the cloud will be managed by the cloud person, or better saying, by the cloud people. Here is a graphic that explains the responsibility, the different responsibility between on-prem, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. So as you can see, on-prem, you have to take care of everything. This is your responsibility. On infrastructure as a service, you have to worry about your application, your data, runtime, middleware, and operational system. And platform as a service, you only care about your application and data. As you can see on the software as a service, Microsoft takes care of everything else. And as a clarification note, at this time, we don't have Sitecore in this last flavor, that is software as a service. So be aware that this is not an option at the current stage. Okay, so a little bit about Azure. As you guys know, Azure has plenty data center across the globe. So we have in US, Canada, Europe, Asia. So wherever you want to move forward with your application, you will be covered by Azure. So we know that there is another providers, but a little further, I will show you why it's better to go with Sitecore and use Azure for doing that. So Azure provides two portals known as Classic. Is this one that you guys are seeing? So this is the first portal for Azure, and we'll be covering for this presentation Resource Manager. That's the new version of the portal, and Azure also recommends to move forward with Resource Manager portal. You can use any of them, of course, it's your choice, but be aware that all new applications and new resources that are being released by Azure, by Microsoft, will be provided in the Resource Manager portal. And this is the Resource Manager that I was talking about. So as you can see, all the interface has changed. It improved and have new stuff at the left panel. So let's focus on Azure Resource Manager and show some features you'll find over there. One of the changes that you have from the Classic portal, the version 1 that I showed you, let me back a little bit. This one, okay. So the first version of Azure Portal doesn't have resource groups. What does that mean? All the resource should be tied to a resource group. So a virtual machine will be under this example here, SUG-BR, and it will running in a life cycle. And if I have other service and I want to provide any maintenance on them, and I have to shut down, and wherever needs to be done in a specific resource group will be shared the same for all items that are inside of it. All right. So each resource group can only exist in one resource group, but resource, let's say a virtual machine, for example, cannot be created without have a resource group. And resource groups can span regions. What does that mean? You can create resource groups per region. So if you want to create a failover, a standby failover, for example, you can create that span East US and another resource group that englobes everything on West US. So if that's the case, you can split your resource by regions using the resource groups. All right, so next feature is a network security groups. You can have network security groups in both portals, old version, the Classic one, and the Resource Manager. But you have less capability from the new portal. So network security groups contains a list of security rules that allows or deny network traffic to resource, connect to Azure virtual network. Network security groups are our firewalls in the cloud. So over here, you can create inbound rules, outbound rules, deny by source, and many other rules that firewalls are able to. Network security groups also can be associated to subnets, individuals VMs, as you can see only for Classic, or individual network interface attached to VMs. So the network security group in the Classic portal, you will have network security groups to each virtual machine that you create. and not to the entire subnet that you have. So this might be a problem if you want to share some of the rules of the network security. Let's say outbound rules, for example. If you want to block all HTTPS or HTTP, and you can do with a single rule. And in the classic portal, you have to replicate over every machine. This is a great feature of Azure. You have on both portals is Traffic Manager. What Traffic Manager can do is improve availability. You can point the Traffic Manager to two services, for example, two virtual machines. And while you are doing a maintenance in one of the virtual machines, you can stop the Traffic Manager to point to one of them and keep your service available. So you do whatever you need to do in one machine or two machines. It will depend how many machines you have behind the Traffic Manager, and then provide any maintenance you need to do, any deployment, and so on. So improve responsiveness, perform a service maintenance without downtime, that what I was saying. And also use Traffic Manager to combine on-prem and cloud-based applications, which means that if you still have your application running in your data center, you can point to the Traffic Manager to route traffic to, and perform a maintenance in your cloud and vice versa. And also distribute traffic by rules. And one of the most interesting that I will also demonstrate in here, it's our ARM templates. They are a JSON file format. They are declaratives, and they help us in the process of automation. With these templates, you can deploy virtual machines just by clicking start button, and the machines will be deployed without any issues. So press your enter button and go get your coffee. And last topic for Azure, why Sitecore plus Azure? Why this is a good deal for us? So Azure is from Microsoft, and Microsoft is built. Microsoft built on .NET and has familiarity of Windows. Sitecore use this technology, and why not going further with the provider of the .NET and Sitecore? So with Azure, you have familiarity with Windows, speed to market. You bet that Azure will provide everything to make sure your Sitecore application is good to go. And I will show in the platform as a service demonstration in Azure. You know that. The only enterprise grade cloud. So Microsoft ensures that Sitecore Experience Database is secure. Infinite scalability. So you can easily scale up your virtual machine, your web application, and you don't have to worry that your site is being crowded by many visitors. You can schedule that. You can do it manually because of a marketing advertisement that it's going on online. All right. Always on. Azure has an SLA of 99.99. I don't know if there's another 9%, but it's almost 100. So it will be a very, very difficult any downtime in Azure unless you are an unfortunate guy. So don't worry with that. So there is also accident protection. Reliable and redundant copies of your data and automatically failover protection. If you don't want to or let better say pay without consumption a lot. So you can pay as you go. So you start Azure, and at the end of the month, you will receive a bill with everything you have used. Interoperability. You can integrate, as you saw in the other slide, with your on-prem, the current on-prem solution that you have. You can use back-end systems and market investments as well. So that's why Sitecore with Azure. All right, so we have ways to provision Sitecore hands-on. So let me stop a little bit here. And so here's a virtual machine that I have created earlier today. And I will show you, I will explain a little better what I'm doing here with this script that I'm about to run here. All right, so I have created a script that I will explain further in a few minutes. And I will leave it running because it takes some time to deploy all the solution. And we'll be back shortly to watch that. Just a second. Okay, so right now I can continue my presentation, as you can see. And I just had to provide my credentials for Azure. And I will explain a little bit further this one. Okay, so this is the Azure Portal, the new version, the Resource Manager, as I mentioned before. So over here you have the resource group that I mentioned. So I have some items already created. As you can see, I have run a few tests to make sure that everything goes smoothly during the presentation. I don't like to be a wild guy, so that's the reason why. So as you can see here, under this resource group, SUG-BR, you see that I have my application deployed and everything under the same life cycle. So let me go back here. So this is one of the Sitecore application web using platform as a service that I deployed prior to this presentation. And this one is running as we speak. All right, so back into the first slide that I mentioned about infrastructure as a service. As you can see here, I have two VMs running. The first one is my content delivered, and the other one is the SQL. So in infrastructure as a service diagram, it will be similar as this one. Probably you see more machines depending on your environment and how your scenario is. So for this presentation, I decided to move forward with a single VM for Sitecore and a VM for SQL. So this is pretty much infrastructure as a service, where you have your Azure subscription running your virtual machines. One it's with Sitecore and the other one with SQL. Okay. So this machine that I'm presenting is our Sitecore content delivery, where I can easily find IaaS with my Sitecore application running. So here's the lady with the cell phone, and it says, yeah, it seems that my application it's up and running without issues. So I didn't made any scalability, so it's all together. I will access Sitecore console. So as you can see, is this is more related with our daily basis until the cloud shows up. Sorry for these. I didn't test it. Sorry. So few adjustments to be done, and I will need some time to fix, of course. But as you can see, I have plenty of plant control of the machine, the Windows. I need to run Windows updates. I need to update the Sitecore. I need to update SQL, by instance, and perform any activity. I have hands on the server. So you guys are probably use it to see that because it's our daily basis prior to the cloud. And wherever maintenance that you need to do, you have to do yourself or call your system administrator. Okay, so another thing, you have SQL as a service in Azure. So you can deploy SQL as a service without worry about license, without worry about update the machine, without worry about running updates and so on. So in a case of platform as a service, this is one of the examples, all right? So another thing, as platform as a service, you see that I deployed a content delivery down here, where I'm able to access here. So I can see the same lady, right? And as this is a content delivery, I don't have permission to access /Sitecore. Okay, so this is pre-configured during the deployment. The script that I have deployed before the presentation. So as you can see here, I'm accessing the content management from the platform as a service, and the Sitecore console should loads. Just a few minutes is the first time. There we go. Oops, just a second. So I have changed. I have chosen a different password from the standard one, the B one, and I forgot that. Sorry. So I just got it from my JSON file for the ARM template that I use it to deploy it, and I'm about to access the Sitecore console. Right, it's loading here. So as you can see, I have Sitecore content management deployed as well. And seems that the pictures are loading now. That's good. It wasn't my intention. It should work on both perspectives, in infrastructure as a service and the platform as a service. Both should work fine. But as this is the case, as you can see, I have the same access from both sides. So I accessed my Sitecore console using my Sitecore deployed inside of a VM, and I'm accessing the platform as a service Sitecore PaaS, as known. So I can create a new user. I can move forward with all daily basis stuff that a content management manager can do. And back to the Azure portal, you can see that I have processing and reporting. So this is related with the type of installation I have choose for these web apps. So this is all your choice. So you can start with the content delivery only and install a VM for content management, for instance. So you can have a hybrid environment with Sitecore if is that your wish for your application, if something that client needs that you do. Okay. All right. So just for clarification, as I mentioned before, Sitecore doesn't provide software as a service at this very moment. So be aware of that again. All right. So let's see, our script here is still deploying. Okay. So explaining a little bit about what I have done in terms of how do I deploy Sitecore as a platform, using platform as a service. So Sitecore has improved the way that it provides Sitecore in Azure. So you will find, I will provide these all these links afterwards on the description of the video. So we have a GitHub repository where you can find the ARM templates for Sitecore 8.1, 8.2.3, and web form for marketers. Okay. So there's a few options here. I was explaining you that I have deployed with content delivery, content management, processing, and reporting, right? So here are the versions, but how do you know which version you want? So I have to go back on the Sitecore download webpage, and you will find here the options for Azure App Service. So package for XP0, sorry, configuration, it's for a single instance. Packages for XP and XP1 have CM, CD, processing, and reporting. This was the one that I deployed prior to this presentation, and the one that is running behind the scenes here. And we also have the XM1 and XM that with two roles, CM, CD, and these packages are configured in CMS only mode. All right. So let me back here for a second. So what I did, I have downloaded the entire repository. It's not a big deal. It's a few megabytes. Let me show you here. So, and I have the same view as I have in the GitHub. All right. So my intention was to deploy Sitecore 8.2.1 and XP. All right. So I have these two files here, Azure deploy and Azure deploy.parameters.json. The one that you modify, it will be this Azure deploy.parameters. All right. So I will show in a few minutes. Another tool that you need is Sitecore Azure Toolkit, where you can download in the dev.sitecore.net. I will provide the link in the description of this video, and you will see that I have downloaded here and have all these stuff together. All right. And the last piece is to put all together as I did here. All right. So I have created I have got the folder from the XP configuration. I have created also a PowerShell script that you can find easily on the GitHub repository as well, similar to this one. All right. And just keep in mind that for doing that, you have to have Azure subscription. So keep that in mind. All right. So let me open the files here. So basically, this is the Azure deploy.parameters, the JSON file that I mentioned for you guys. So let me a blank file just for a second. Okay, so let's say that I'm starting right now with my deployment to tell what I want that Azure configures for me. All right, so deployment ID will be the name of your application. You have Sitecore admin password. As you noted, I have changed it, and it was not B. So I came back to this file to get it. And what is this guy for? So if you go back to GitHub, you have a help guide here that shows you what is any what the field it's works for. So here's the one that I'm looking for. So it's a unique value that will be used as authentication when communicating from content manager to the reporting web app. Okay, so you can easily generate a GUID file, a GUID entry, and paste it here. So it will make all the communication happen. All right. Analytics MongoDB. Well, I didn't mention that before, but you can provide any sort of connection here, but your analytics won't work if you do that. So prior to do that, you have to configure either a virtual machine, or if you want to go 100% platform as a service, you have MLab as an option. So you have to provide, as you were working in the connection string file, like this one, and use the same structure. So MongoDB, how do you say column? Yeah, column. So MongoDB column / localhost, and of course you change localhost by your server on MLab. So here will be similar. Will be the same entry, let's say like that, the same entry, but modified accordingly to match your MongoDB server. So if you have a MongoDB as a virtual machine, you point to your virtual machine by instance here and provide the name of your MongoDB database. So analytics, tracking live, tracking history, and tracking contact. All right. Another thing that the ARM will do for you, it's the SQL Server login. So you can create whatever you want. You can set the password, and pay attention that the password should be security with security complexity. So you have to have at least 9 characters. You have to use special characters and numeric and so on. All right. So moving forward, to set up for Sitecore CM, you have to have a package URL. Do you guys know where I can find one? Probably this one here. All right. So as I choose the package XP1, let me show you. Here's the package XP1 that I choose. And I have to unzip those files and put those in the cloud. Okay. So over here, I will put a blob storage address where my ARM template, my PowerShell script will call the JSON file and running behind the scenes and provision CM, CD, proc, processing, and reporting. All right. So in order to do that, let me show how tricky that might be. So you have to have a storage account where you can upload those files. So as you can see here, I already uploaded because it takes a while. And it's my recommendation for you guys. Spin up a machine in Azure prior to this upload to the storage, because sometimes these 4 files here have 1 gig, and sometimes from your machine in the office, you probably face some issues to upload this amount. So create a virtual machine, upload the files, and be happy for that. But the trick part is that to create a good space to upload those files to, you have to create a storage. So let's create my storage here. So I'm creating my storage here. I'm giving a name. There's some recommendations here that you cannot start with a number, you cannot be uppercase. So that's the reason it gives me a green sign here. Also, if by any chance this address Vinicius SUG-BR already exists, .core.windows.net, you receive a error here. All right. Okay, so here's the trick part. You have to choose the account kind from general purpose to blob storage. Okay. So if you leave as general purpose, you'll find some errors during the deployment of the Sitecore. Okay, and we don't want that. And replication, you can choose whatever you want. I'm going with locally redundant, as it's a simple upload of files that I will be using later on. And subscription, it's the one that I'm using. Resource group. So as I don't want to mix or confuse anyone here, I will be creating a new one because it's a different life cycle, if you remember one of the slides before. So I will create a new one, Vinicius storage. Oops, seems that, oops, sorry, create a new one, sorry. Not using existing. So Vinicius storage location, I will leave as East US and create. It's take a while, let's say 1 to 2 minutes to create the storage. And once I have my storage, I will need a space inside of the storage to upload those files. So let me hit refresh here. So seems that my storage is created. Here, the icon also differs from the VMs that I created because it's a different type of storage. So this is blob storage icon, and this is the common storage, okay? So under my storage here, I will have to create a container to upload my files. So I will create here Sitecore packages. And the access type will be blob again. All right, so not private, not container, it's a blob. Click OK. And another tip that I can tell you, it's there's a tool provided by Microsoft called Microsoft Azure Storage Explorer. I will provide in the description of this video. It's pretty easy to upload your files all by once. So, but back into Azure Portal, you have the ability to upload files from here. So going back to my downloads file, and you notice that it will take a while, but the download will start. And while I'm uploading the file from these from the portal, I will reload my storage under Azure Storage Explorer. Okay, so as you can see here, I have my storage Vinicius SUG-BR. I have my blob containers, Sitecore packages. This file, it's already uploading. It's already graded out, so it's uploading. Oh, seems that the upload is completed. And under the Azure Storage Explorer, I can hit upload files, navigate, and choose all other packages. All by everyone, all these files in a single time. Okay, and hit upload. So the upload will take a little bit, but it's not our intention to wait. So I have done this prior this presentation, as you can see here on this blob storage here, and I have all packaged here. So I will complete. If you click on the file, this package here, you will see there is a URL over here, which I'm using to pass as a parameter. All right. So I have the CD package URL here, and I used my CD package that I uploaded to my blob storage. Okay. So I will fill it up accordingly, and be aware that fill it up properly, these fields, because I faced some issues during the weekend when I was starting this presentation. And you can see my question on Stack Exchange if you want to. All right, so it ended up that the script that I'm running has deployment ID. I have my password admin. For Sitecore, I have my GUID for the reporting server. I have MongoDB in place. I have SQL. I have my password. I have my package properly filled. And I have the Sitecore SKU that you can choose from XP1 to XP5, if I'm not wrong. But you can also rely here on the, XP1 to XP5. You can always rely on the GitHub. So let's see how our script's going. So it's still deploying. I will be continue with my presentation, and we can see how things finish. Oh, seems that it's done. All right, so right on time, we have our script deployed, and it throws an overview. So Azure demo succeeded. I have all the parameters deployed over here, so I can double check everything that has been deployed. So I think we are good to go. Back to our Azure portal, and just double check that our Azure demo is working. So as you can see, they are running. That's good. So let's access our Azure Demo CD node. So it might take a while. As you know, Sitecore, the first load takes a little bit more than others. And let's see. So seems that our requests are happening. And by the number of the requests, I believe you guys saw the address and try access from home, right? So let's see how things goes, and hopefully platform as a service don't disappoint us. Yep. All right, so let's see how things go with our content management, for instance. Oh boy, so our content delivered on. So this is our platform as a service up and running. So as you can see, our script was started. It took only, let's see, scroll up. So it took, in a good math, 30 minutes, 26 minutes to be more precise. 26 minutes to provision a full environment for Sitecore: content delivery, content management, reporting, and processing server. All right, so that's good. We enjoy it. So going back to our presentation to finish. So last topic, system administrators. So with everything that we have done in Azure, what does system administrator do all day? Hello, IT? Have you tried turning off your computer? No? Seriously? Definitely not. So we configure, manage, troubleshoot, monitors, and fix every aspect of company's computer, network, and IT infrastructure. And fellow employees thinks he just surfs the internet and fixes printer. Yeah, yeah, I don't smoke, but the first part is true, right? So what about the cloud? Will your job role disappear? So in my opinion, cloud is a good thing for all system administrators, where we'll be able to stop putting out fires and start think efficiently. So yeah, the idea of not seeing the server scares the shit of me. I have been working remotely from my data center since 2013 when I started nonlinear, Vaultec now. So I don't have any complaints regarding that. So I think it's a good thing, and we keep the ball rolling for a long, long time. Thank you. Questions, and here's my contacts. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Vem aqui para falar, só tá com o microfone hoje. Aí. Tá ligado? Yeah. Thanks, Vinicius. Great presentation. I have a question for you. So, what you demo for us today makes a lot of sense in terms of infrastructure when we're working Sitecore. You know, several environments, continuous integrations, QA, production, etc. That makes a lot of sense. But let's just think for a second, from a development perspective, what could a developer benefit from this, working just as a developer? Because one of the things I can think of is, for example, having services like MongoDB or SQL Server running on cloud, and that can bring benefits, from having it there. You don't have to worry about it from your, having SQL Server running on your local, etc. But can you think of anything else or any other benefits that a developer only, and I'm speaking just, someone working on their laptop or etc., that they can benefit from using Azure in Sitecore? Or it's just more from your perspective, just more when you're dealing with production environments, UAT and etc. You can elaborate a little bit on that.
Yeah, so the benefit that we all know that Sitecore needs a good environment for the developer working on. So usually you guys have a Core i7 with 16 or more gigs, and also SSD will all good to have. So with Azure for developers, you can spin up an environment in 26 minutes, which is great. So I'm not sure about the way that you will connect and deploy through Azure, but I have seen that with you and Rodrigo already. But so you have the ability to spin up a full environment in 26 minutes. So it's a good start. And if you are only working in the cloud, let's say with all package, Mongo, the Sitecore, even with the VMs, by instance, you have the ability to don't have a powerful machine, for example, in terms of hardware, from hardware perspective. In terms of development, I think it will be similar. The benefit I can think of, it's the way you provision the the speed that you provision that, and how well you can start from scratch. Let's say that prior to start your development and all your activity, you took a backup for the entire VM or for the entire Sitecore web application running on as a PaaS. So back up everything. You mess it up, and it starts again from scratch. Let's say 26 minutes it's too much. I don't know. It might be for some, but I think we can all take advantage from that. João Neto is asking.
What's the average cost for keeping production and Kinena A and UAT instance on Azure? Do you think it's expensive to keep all of your instance on Azure, or would you recommend only keeping the production and leaving the test and the user acceptance on your local servers? What do you say about it?
Yeah, so let me responding that question by accessing the website here. Just a second. So Microsoft provide a calculator. Pricing calculator. So this is a standard for end users calculator. All right. So it might change if you have enterprise agreement. Okay. So the price here listed are for end users only. So if you have a commitment with Microsoft, this price might be decreased. Okay. So of course, keeping an entire environment in Azure will be expensive, especially if you are running under virtual machines. If you put side by side virtual machines against platform as a service, the cost for virtual machine will be higher. Because despite Sitecore, you also have the operational system to run. And using Sitecore as Sitecore PaaS, you don't have the operational systems, so it will run in a different platform with lower hardware perspective, and it will be cheaper. But just for curiosity, I'm adding Sitecore virtual machine here with Windows standard. For production, I can say from what we are using for our client here, we are using an A4 machine that has an 8-core, 14 gigs, and a single machine, it's $535 per month for a single environment. Of course, this is to keep running entire month. So if you could think of shut down the machines off business hours, would be, let's say, just for 20 days. So you can play around with that, but in my opinion, it's always move to the cloud. But keep in mind that there is a cost behind that. It has all benefits, but there's a price, a price behind the scenes that keep that up and running for Azure and Microsoft. They need to make money. We need to make money. So also there's a price.
Chris Williams, our good friend from Canada, is just commenting that spin up in 20-60 minutes is great for reproducing customer issues in a dev environment quickly. And you don't have to keep it live forever. You can turn it on and off, and when you need it, and just pay for the storage. So it's another, I guess, another response for Diego.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Chris. And also, I think that adds more content to João's question regarding values. So I think you have to put on balance and see what's the benefit for you to have everything from your development in Azure, and or having in your environment, or give to developers the option to deploy things in cloud quicker and for test purposes only. It all depends.
Jason is adding nice information, telling that to help when talking to clients, Sitecore and Microsoft built a calculator to do a quick estimate of the common packages, XP05, XM05. Get a hold of your local sales representation to get help with estimates. Good one, Jason.
Thanks, Jason. And also, I have saw Jason's PowerPoint. He did earlier this year. And also keep in mind that Sitecore has a license, and to deploy to Azure, your license needs to be appropriated for the Azure environment, and needs to accomplish all the environments that I have deployed here. So content management, content delivery. So you can always rely on your Sitecore representative and partner to get a proper license for that.
So on platform as a service, how is it that you access stuff like logs for a content management server, for example?
Good question, Anderson. So I didn't show you here, but whoops, just a second. Okay, back to my VM here. So Jason also wrote a good blog post about application insights. Okay, so application insights gives you a good overview what's happening with your applications under platform as a service. And I'm not pretty sure that if my application already have enough information, but you can always rely on that. When you deploy it, the Sitecore using platform as a service, it installs the application inside, and you have to either enable it, and let me pull it up here. So as I was mentioned here, Jason wrote this awesome article. I can put on the description of this video. And you have to set up application insights for your AspNet website. So you need to use your Visual Studio to apply the telemetry, and you'll be able to take all advantage for that. So as Anderson asked about the log files and etc. So you have a good tool here where you can generate alerts and see the failures that's happening on your application, and take advantage of the cloud to make your application succeed.
I just posted on the chat, but you can always access Sitecore logs through Sitecore, through the log viewer. So I guess that answers your question, right?
Thank you, Diego. So any more questions? Are you stuck? No? All right. That's it, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention. Have a great evening.
I would just make a small comparison, and we'll continue 2 to 5 minutes just to set up the headset that I will need the headset to have my 2 hands free. And we continue. One more question.
Okay, because I've worked with Clay Tablet module, and Clay Tablet requires you to send files to the file system and configure those files. How do you do that using Platform as a Service?
Yeah, so this is important information that I just forgot to mention. Not all modules are compatible with this Platform as a Service yet. So I'm pretty sure that Sitecore and Microsoft are making efforts to make this happen. So I will quickly try to find out the compatibility table. There is just a second. All right, so the following table presents the compatibility of Sitecore XP components and modules with the Microsoft Azure Platform as a Service, such as Azure App Service, Azure Search, Azure SQL, and so on. So as you can see here, for example, Active Directory is not supported module as a service. PXM is not supported. Dynamics has a mark here, so I won't comment. Email Experience Manager, SharePoint Connect. So all those guys are not supported. Keep in mind that some modules probably won't work at this moment. And hopefully in the near future, we have something from Sitecore.
Because in the case of Clay Tablet, it's not only that the module requires config files to be delivered, because those could be delivered using the module itself, like a zip file, the regular zip file. But you also have to go into the data directory, create folders in there, and deploy files to the file system itself. So I don't think that would work Platform as a Service right away, right? You don't have access to the file system itself, do you?
Yeah, so that's another good question. Let me go back to my super virtual machine here. You can, I'm not sure about Clay Tablet, but you can always rely on FTP. As you can see here, I didn't set up the FTP, so I'm not sure if we will be able to access it. But let me copy here. And so it seems that there's an user in authentication. Yeah, I don't think, oh.
Jason just...
Yep, go ahead.
Jason just mentioned that Clay Tablet's not built by Sitecore, and each vendor has to build their support to their module.
Okay, so let me show you here. There is a password here for our FTP. Just a second. Let's see if we can see anything. So this is the password. Yep. Whoops. This is generated by Azure automatically. Okay. Yeah. So, and the username. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Something else. So, I will. Yeah, you have FTP. It's just a matter to configure and enable it. So probably I didn't enable it or in somewhere else, but we can have a look and chat about that. Thank you.